Hello everyone, welcome to this presentation. My colleague, Professor Paola Cabrera, and I, Luz Castillo, are going to share with you this presentation about a research study we carried out in our university as part of this important event, Tercer Congreso Internacional de Didáctica de la Lengua Inglesa. The title of our research was Implementing Gamification in Foreign Language Education, a Case of Pre-Service EFL Teachers in Ecuador. The authors were Magister Paola Alexandra Cabrera-Solano and I, Luz Mercedes Castillo-Cuesta. We belong to the EFL Learning, Teaching and Technology Research Group in the Education Department at Universidad Técnica Particular de Loja. The purpose of our study was to analyze the use of gamification strategies in order to improve EFL writing skills in pre-service teachers from the English major at UTPL. Well, it is important to mention that all the 4 language skills are necessary in order to develop communicative competence. Anyway, the importance of writing is fundamental in EFL teaching and learning. It is a skill that must be developed in order to have success at all levels of educational contexts. Writing involves the mastery of grammar, syntax, style, and vocabulary. However, learners deal with some issues regarding grammatical knowledge, lack of vocabulary, and also coherence and cohesion. A score that acknowledges grammar can directly affect learners' capacity to produce acceptable utterances in the target language. It is the basis in order to develop the rest of the language skills. Instructors should teach learners how to create paragraphs that have an appropriate organization. It is necessary to learn them how to organize ideas in a coherent and accurate way. It is necessary to use technological tools and also to consider the importance of them, especially nowadays in which technology has a fundamental role in education in general around the world. So technology offers many possibilities and it has the potential also to help language learners achieve their goals. Thus, we can use also gamification and technology at the same time. So gamification has been considered an approach to enhance learners' engagement and achievement because games stimulate students' minds. Games also help instructors and students to change the way they teach and learn. They activate motivation and autonomous learning. Thus, we had two research questions for this study. The first question is, how do students perceive the use of gamification strategies to improve EFL writing skills? And also, what is the impact of the use of gamification strategies to improve EFL writing skills? The participants in this study included 54 pre-service teachers registered in 2 English courses from the major. Their ages were between 18 and 22 years old, and their proficiency level A2 according to the Common European Framework of References for Languages. At the beginning of the implementation, an academic term, a pre-questionnaire was used in order to determine a student's experience in using gamification strategies in previous courses. During the implementation of games, which were designed in the platform EducaPlay, Writing rubrics were used in order to assess students' grammar and the organization of ideas. And also they were used to provide permanent feedback to our students. At the end of the academic term, a post-questionnaire was used in order to know about the students' perception of the use of gamification strategies for enhancing EFL writing. Okay, so my colleague, Professor Cabrera, will continue with the rest of this presentation. Thank you very much.
With respect to the results of this study, it's necessary to mention that we consider two important stages: the results of the pre-questionnaire and the results of the post-questionnaire. As for the results of the pre-questionnaire or the diagnostic section of our study, most of the students, in fact 58%, had previously used gamification strategies in previous courses of their major. However, none of them had been exposed to crossword puzzles and unscrambled games before. In addition, students also mentioned that they wanted to reinforce some grammatical aspects, especially the ones related to the passive voice, the future tense, the use of conditionals, and the present perfect, maybe because they considered that these grammatical aspects were kind of difficult for them to master. Finally, students mentioned that they wanted or they needed to improve writing aspects related to spelling, to punctuation, word order, and organization of ideas. After analyzing these important results, we started by identifying what the most important needs of the students were, and we designed the intervention that was previously mentioned. So after finishing the intervention process, we applied the post-questionnaire in which we classified the results into some important variables. The first one deals with ease of access to digital games, in which 58-32% of the students strongly agreed, while 22-45% agreed with this aspect. Only a very small percentage of the students mentioned that it was not very easy for them to access the loaded activities that were designed throughout this intervention, especially during the course. Another variable that was assessed after the intervention was ease of use to crossword puzzles and unscrambled games. In this aspect, 51% of our participants strongly agreed with this aspect, while the rest of the students either had a neutral position or some of them also disagreed with this aspect. In relation to teachers' feedback, 56 and 82% of the students mentioned that gamification facilitated this process in the classroom, and on the other hand, 98% of them had a neutral perspective in relation to feedback. Regarding usefulness of EducaPlay games, 91% of learners indicated that they were really practical to develop their EFL writing skills, while only 12% had a neutral point of view in relation to this important aspect. Finally, we wanted to mention that 83% of the students asserted that they would like to continue using these EducaPlay games in the classroom because they considered they were a relevant learning results that can be an important aspect to achieve the learning goals of their courses, especially in the English major. But what were the students' media scores in grammatical usage after administering these instruments? As you know, students wanted to improve these important grammatical aspects, and at the end, after the intervention, the grammatical aspect in which students got the best media scores was the one related to conditionals, followed by the future tense, the passive voice, and the present perfect, in that order. So what it means that students, consider that conditionals were kind of difficult for them to master, but at the end, they valued the importance of using games to practice these structures. In relation to students' media scores in writing aspects, organization of ideas was the one aspect in which students really showed an improvement after the intervention. Finally, in relation to the conclusions, the implementation of gamification strategies was perceived by students as really helpful for enhancing EFL learners' writing skills, especially in relation to the improvement of grammar knowledge and the skills for organizing ideas in paragraphs and essays. The participants really considered that the Educa played games that included crossword puzzles and unscrambled sentences were significant for improving their learning. So games based on students' real needs can really motivate students to participate in interactive writing activities that can be proposed by teachers in their courses. In fact, games were perceived as really engaging for educational purposes. They increased students' interest for learning English writing, thus improving their language learning experience. The use of gamification strategies really allows students improvement in their grammatical knowledge. I already mentioned that the future, the passive voice, conditionals, and the present perfect were some of the aspects that were evaluated. And after assessing learners' writing activities through rubrics, their improvement was especially evident in the use of conditionals. The implementation of Educa Play crossword puzzles and unscrambled games is really effective as a strategy that can enhance EFL students' writing skills. And finally, feedback plays a fundamental role in teaching and learning EFL writing skills. For this reason, when they are combined, these games, with effective instruction, they can really enhance students' linguistic performance, and our students can feel more engaged with the learning outcomes that are established in the syllabus. So thank you very much for your attention, and remember to contact us if you want to receive more information about this study. Thanks a lot.